Hi, I'm Suzanne Hanny, the editor of Streetwise magazine, and this is A. Allen, one of our star vendors and our QAT members, which is Quality Assurance Team. We're going to be talking to you today on our inaugural show for the Hotline series. We're going to be on for 12 weeks. We're going to tell you a little bit about the history first of Streetwise and how you can become a vendor and some of our latest issues. So first of all, I'd like to say that the inspiration for Streetwise was a paper in New York City. We were founded in 1992 by Judd Lofsky, Casey Goganka, and some other people. We first were located around 13th and Michigan. We moved from there to Lake Street and Racine, and now we're located in Uptown at 4554 North Broadway, basically Broadway and Wilson on the Red Line stop. The paper in New York was the inspiration, and it was also the inspiration for a paper in London, which led to the formation of the International Network of Street Papers, the INSP. There are 110 papers like Streetwise around the world. They're located in England, Scotland, Norway, Germany, Italy, Taiwan, Brazil, Argentina, and basically the idea is the same. We're giving the vendors, a legitimate product to sell, so they're not panhandling. And we call it a hand up, not a handout. So I'd like to talk about some of the early vendors. You know Thomas Wells, and you probably know Don Smith. So Thomas Wells started in 1993, and both he and Don said they had some habits that they had to break. Don Smith said that it was his customers who helped him break these habits. Once he started selling around the Gold Coast, people would talk to him and they'd suggest things. He started saving money. He now has a job. He comes into Streetwise to visit at our food. We offer food every day, which we have donated, and all of us eat it. I eat it just so I can visit with the vendors. Thomas Wells is now a commodities engineer. He got his commercial trucking license, and he sells on the weekends. So you don't have to be homeless. You can be just supplementing your income. So tell us, Alan, why is it different from panhandling? You've done the experience, and tell us about your experiences.
Okay, Streetwise is a upgrading, progressive improvement of one's life. You know, for me, it helped me to be able to go out and socialize with people and to be able to relate to people that I wouldn't normally socialize with. So it was a stepping stone for me to go into the public industry and relate to people that I would normally not relate to. Even though Streetwise, we do have a magazine that we sell, but it's not all about the magazine. It's about interaction with people, you know, people of different nature, different classes, different economical levels. It's a gateway in order to bring, like, we just celebrated Martin Luther King's birthday, and it was sort of like the integration to me of what he dreamed about. Okay, people coming together and relating to one another, you know, and trying to understand each other, you know. So it's more than just selling a magazine.
Well, for example, we introduced you to Ed Sherna, who had been the retired director of the Coalition for the Homeless,
Yes.
because you were very interested in the idea of organizing, and he suggested an organizing forum for you so that you could maybe use the talents you have as a speaker. And then we did a story a year ago on rummage sales, and we decided to do it differently. We actually went to one rummage sale ahead of time, and they gave him a $50 credit, and we outfitted him, and we did a before and after Alan. And so he's used some of those clothes for some of the fancy things that he's gone to since. And I think one more thing, of course, being QAT, you also go around now and you're looking at other vendors and how they behave and whether they're selling the magazine with the code of conduct. Tell us a little bit about the code of conduct.
The code of conduct it's basically a training that we use in orientation to let our vendors know how to carry themselves in an appropriate and proper manner when they're in public. Say, for instance, if a person chooses not to buy the magazine, we still want to carry ourselves in an appropriate and proper manner by being respectful, kind, and polite to people, okay? Whether they want the magazines or not. The code of conduct lets you know how to carry yourself in the public.
In other words, we tell this, and we have monthly meetings where we discuss with the vendors. Alan leads a lot of the meetings. We kind of have a pep talk. It's a little bit like come to meeting, isn't it? Come.
Yeah.
It is. We talk about that and we'll say, look, it's hard to take rejection. They're on the street and people are saying nasty things to them sometimes, like get a real job. This is my job, okay? It is my job and it is his job. But if someone says something nasty to you, you want to be able to say, thank you, have a nice day. So we train the vendors to that because people are going to say what they're going to say, and you have to go on and stay positive yourself. Tell us about orientation. It's twice a week, right?
Orientation is twice a week on Tuesday and Thursday at 10 o'clock. So if anybody interested in becoming a vendor and making some extra money or using Streetwise as a stepping stone, you're welcome to come to orientation so you can be orientated of what we actually do at Streetwise. Meals will be provided.
So
Okay?
what happens after orientation, it's about 2 hours. The vendors get 15 free papers, and then they go on the street and they sell them, and that becomes their startup capital. They'll sell those papers, and then they buy more, and then they retain a little more than half of what they sell, and they keep using that money to invest in themselves and the paper and sell and keep investing and selling, buying more papers, selling them, and keeping that money. So that's why they have to learn how to be able to save money and not spend it, because this is the money they're going to use to do something else, like get an apartment, etc. So I'm going to talk a little bit about me. As I said, I grew up between Cabrini Green and the Gold Coast. I always wanted to be a Chicago reporter. I worked downstate for a while. When I came home, there were a number of family illnesses. I had an aunt, my mom, my uncle, who were all sick, and they later died, and I had time taking care of them, and then I needed to get back into journalism. And so to me, my whole view about Streetwise is we're talking about how lower income people can be part of the city, because a lot of people are saying it's a more expensive city, it's hard to live here. How do we do that? How do we stay here, afford to live in the city that we love in? We love because it's our home. And how do we retain the culture that we've had for years and years? I'd like to say that someone else who came on board about the same time I did is Bruce Crane, and he says in our history that he was concerned about us having social services, and so he made a push for that, and that's grown in the last 10 years. And so we not only have social services, we have a social worker at the head, and then we have social work interns. They help the vendors get things like IDs, referrals to housing, other needs that are hard to navigate by yourself. So people can come in and make an appointment to talk to them. We also have food provided by First Slice, and I'm not sure if there's some others. We have food every day. And so the vendors can come in and have a nice warm place to visit, to talk. You're talking about how we need to have more of a Southern hospitality thing. We're encouraging a nicer code of conduct as well in the eating place, so we want that. One of the other things, as I said, in the concern about how we keep people in the city and how we keep our culture, I'm very big on music, because there was a University of Chicago study that said Chicago is a music city in hiding. We're the center of 4 different types of music dating because of the Great Migration, because gospel, blues, jazz, also Irish music, Mexican music. How can we use the things that we love to do to create jobs, especially among young people? So for that end, we're going to talk quickly about a couple of editions. This is the Mavis Staples edition. This is our Martin Luther King edition. We do a Martin Luther King edition every year, a little bit ahead of time. Mavis Staples, we talked about her because she is the One Book, One Chicago, her book, the book about her, I'll Take You There, by Greg Cott of the Tribune. Talked about various things that were quite interesting, about how she and her family stopped at a Memphis gas station, and the attendant was saying she had to come in and get the receipt, and her father realized that was not a good thing. He punched the guy out, and so she was petrified that they were going to wind up in not very good shape. And luckily, someone at the jail recognized them as the Staples Singers. Dr. King had a song that was a favorite of his, was Why Am I Treated So Bad, which was basically inspired by the Little Rock Nine desegregation. And she called out the community, she said there needs to be more people, there need to be leaders. She complimented Chance and Common for the stance that they've taken. What was your favorite thing about, oh, and one thing I'd like to point out, we're going to show you, this is the One Book, One Chicago with the Public Library, and they are having a series of programs. I'm going to point to the overhead here. There's a number of programs, I'm trying to center this properly, that they're having. I thought it would be very interesting, the programs here, How Chicagoans Experience Music at the Edgebrook Library. That's at 3 p.m. January 27th. And then Robert Maravich on Chicago and the Birth of Gospel Music, February 3rd at 2 p.m. at the Uptown Library. And then a colorful tribute to Black music, February 17th at 3 p.m. at the Avalon Library. And if you want to check this out, here is the website, shepublib.org for more information. That's the library, the website for the Chicago Public Library. They have a number of free programs. And then the other show that we have, the other issue that we have out right now is Bjork. She is an artist from Iceland. You may remember her from when she had this is when she wore the swan dress to the Academy Awards. Everybody in the United States started to think, oh, this gal's a little bit, too pixie-ish. But I think she made some important points during the story. She said things, I'm going to leave her there. She said things like, I'm going to go back to us now. Keeps talking. She made some points like women should be able to take more experiments. She did some DJing and people made funny comments about her, but she said no, people should be able to do that. She also talked about ageism. She said that in Iceland, people of all nationalities and everybody gets together at a mosh pit, your kids and you, and it's okay. So she also talked about living in the Trump era. She said she's trying to create a feeling of just getting away to that desert island and being okay. So Alan, let's talk a little bit about us again before you go to answer the phones. We're going to do phones for the last 10 minutes. What are your takes on some of the issues? You have about a minute here to talk about some of the things that people have said to you about different papers. What are some of the issues that you've had in the last few weeks?
One of the things that Streetwise offering that has enhanced my ability to write is we have the writers group. We also have the current event group, and the current event group is held on Tuesdays at 11 o'clock, and what we cover in the current event groups is what's in the paper. Okay, like when we did the Mavis
Staples, okay.
story, I come to learn that our very own Alexander,
Okay.
Ali wrote it, and it's a very good article. And what I like about the article was the song "I'll Take You There." I remember the song, but I didn't know it was so closely related to Martin Luther King marches.
You didn't know that?
I didn't. I didn't
Wow.
know that. So I found that out through Streetwise. Streetwise, this is our chief editor, Suzanne, and she's a very good editor. That's the reason why I enjoy working for Streetwise so much, is because I'm not out there panhandling. I'm out there selling a good quality product. Just like I learned through reading Streetwise that Mavis Staples, she followed Martin Luther King during his marches, and she sung. And what she sung was, "I'll Take You There." And since I read that article, I actually went back to listen to the song where she was singing about "I'll Take You There." She was talking about a place of freedom. Okay, when she said, "I'll take you there," and she was taking us there through her music. So I find there's a lot of interesting things in Streetwise. We have the Eatwise, we have the crossword puzzles, we have the Sudoku, we have the Sportswise. We have a lot of good things inside of Streetwise paper. But most of the vendors we actually sell ourselves. Okay, it's not just the papers. But that's good to know for me that we offer a good product to our customers. A very good product.
I feel that we should always be thinking of ourselves as a product because we want to give people something. We don't just want to beg. I want the vendors to be always thought of as salesmen. I want them to receive respect. I want people to say, yes, If they can sell Streetwise, they can sell something else.
Yes.
So the idea is that you can grow with Streetwise, learn from people on the street, the marketplace, coming up to you and saying, I like what you're doing now. You look better. You sound better. You're more respectful on the street. Maybe I can offer you a job. And it does happen. People,
It does
because
happen.
it's people nudging you on the street. Instead of just walking by you, they will engage eventually. And they'll say, this would be a better thing to say than what you're saying. This would be a better thing to do. So try it this way. And they become friends. We had one guy who graduated from college, and he passed out his invitations to people because he was so proud. And he found that he had bankers and judges as his clients, as his Streetwise customers. And they did come because they were proud that they had helped him make himself better. I say this to the vendors, we're working because we love Chicago. We want to make people better so that it's a better Chicago. And so we're going to keep talking. I think we're going to put you on the phones. And
Okay, but I'd like to say just one thing.
Okay.
My mentor, which is Russell Adams, he been with Streetwise some years, and he sort of pounded within me that you're an entrepreneur. You're not just out there selling papers, but you're a businessman because you buy the papers and you resell the papers, okay? So therefore, that puts you in the position of being an entrepreneur. First of all, when I came to Streetwise, I had to realize I was my own boss. That means that no one had to push me to go to work. I had to be motivated to go to work for myself. And this is what I like about Streetwise. When we say a hand up, not a handout, what we're talking about is helping yourself, okay? And I found from my experience that people help people that help themselves. If you don't want to do nothing but sit up there and shake a cup, a person feel, why should I help you? That's the reason why some of my customers come to me and say, just don't be like that panhandler. You know, continue doing what you're doing, you know, because when selling the papers, it's an upgrading thing. It gives you dignity. It gives you respect. You know, you don't be sitting on the curb talking about help me if you can. You know, you saying, hey, I'm an entrepreneur. I have a paper for sale, and it's a very good paper. And hey, you know, you see me here every day. And I've been offered 3 jobs since I've been working for Streetwise.
seriously,
I've been offered 3 jobs, and that's not including putting my resume into a paper, but Streetwise is a stepping stone for anyone that may want to take a step above.
okay. Thank you very much. Well, I'm glad you're still with us because we need you. We need you to spread our mission and to inspire other vendors.
I love
But
Streetwise.
I think you could do Streetwise plus some of these other things, and I think eventually you may, because you have a lot to develop. You have a lot to offer the world because of what you've developed from us.
Yes, that's true.
It was all in you, but you needed a space that was open and accepting.
Opportunity.
You did, but you could have any opportunity, but we were there.
Yes.
I mean, you did say once that this was
The
you know,
last house on the block.
after some earlier difficult life.
Yes.
Yes, okay. But now you're going to be our phone person, so I've got to get you, and we got to focus back on the magazine so that we can get you to answer phones.
Okay.
Okay, there we go. Hang on. Wait. Okay, there we go. All right. So we're back onto this. Okay. All right. So we are taking calls now. The number is 773. Wait, I got it. It's 312-738-1060. So again, there we are. Okay. We are taking calls. And I am screening this in the meantime. This is the One Book, One Chicago event highlights. This is the list of things, of co-programs at Chicago Public Libraries that have to do with the book I'll Take You There, and they are scheduled through April. So the first one is Todd Mayfield discussing Traveling Soul, the life of Curtis Mayfield. That's going to be at Harold Washington Library tomorrow at 6 p.m., and that's, of course, at 400 South State Street. And then the next one is going to be a celebration of American roots and popular music with Ron and Rachel. That's going to be on the northwest side, 5630 North Lincoln Avenue. And then the 25th is going to be A Tale of Chicago, told in 10 songs. That's going to be at the West Belmont Library at 3104 North Narragansett Avenue, and that will repeat. And again, I want to there's a program also on the Northwest Side, Listening Together, How Chicagoans Experience Music. That's at the Edgebrook Library. And then in Uptown on February 3rd, there's a book by author Robert Marovich is going to be talking on Chicago and the birth of gospel music, which I think is huge. We all know about Thomas Dorsey and Pilgrim Baptist Church in Bronzeville. And then, of course, here's the I'll Take You There book club, and then a colorful tribute to black music at the Avalon Library on February 17th at 3 p.m., and then again on March 10th and March 24th. Again, I want to suggest anyone who wants to call in, I'm happy to answer questions, 312-738-1060. And I'd also like to emphasize we are interested in people who want to become vendors. The training again is 10 a.m. Tuesday and Thursday. It's about 2 hours at our offices at 4554 North Broadway. That's Broadway and Wilson. We're right off the red line at Wilson. We're in a large, old, maybe 1920s building. We're on the 3rd floor, all the way down at the end of the hall. When vendors complete the training, they get 15 free papers, and then when they sell them, that's the money they use to buy more papers, and then they keep selling them, putting some money back into being able to buy papers and selling more. And we hope that they'll be able to save money so that they can maybe get a room for the night and eventually be able to have a down payment towards a security deposit for a next month's rent. That's one of the reasons we have the food there. That's something that Bruce Crane, one of our board members, said that he feels that the vendors maybe were spending money before on food, but now when they're able to eat lunch and maybe have a dinner or take something with them for later, they're able to save that money, and that's the money they use to move on. So I've showed you these issues. I can tell you that we're working on an issue about people downtown and homeless and how the city reacts to them, some of the different agencies that are helping with homeless outreach downtown. The Chicago Loop Alliance does feel that it's an entrepreneurial street more than it is a living street. So they don't have people camped out downtown because there's 200,000 people coming downtown every day. It's not really, you'd get trampled on if you tried to pitch a tent downtown. They realize it's a street where people tend to do commerce. So again, we'll be on again next week at this time. It'll be 3:30 on Tuesdays for the next 12 weeks. We look forward to telling you more about the nonprofits we work with, different vendors who've been successful, different stories that we have in the magazine, and even some of the people who contribute to us, such as the Give a Shirt Foundation, which did a t-shirt fundraiser for us. And it was fabulous. We were out at the Bridge Museum on Michigan Avenue. So thank you very much. And we look forward to seeing you again.